Welcome. In front of me I have a Vivo Y22s, and today I'll go over unboxing along with a quick overview of this device specs. So anyway, I just jump straight into it, pop it open. This device was released in August of 2022, so it's a relatively new device. See, do we have any specs? We do have just a Snapdragon, battery, charging, and camera, which I'll touch upon later on, so let's ignore that for now. So there we go, that's all we get in the box. Now in terms of the phone, there it is. Now, let's jump into the actual spec list. So while it's turning on, I'm going to touch upon the display, which you should see it in its full glory in a second, and that's a 6.5-inch display, LCD IPS display with an 82.4% screen to body ratio and 270 pixels per inch with a resolution of 720 by 1612. So it is a 720p display. So this device, based on the resolution, I'm guessing it's a little bit more of a budget device. And based on the price that I'm looking at right now, which is about 250 euros, it's catering at the edge of budget and closer towards mid-range. Though the processor, I would say it's, well, I guess would represent that as well. So anyway, there we go, that's the display. As you can see, we do have a bit of a bigger bezel at the bottom, the chin, though the rest of them are pretty minimal. Phone looks pretty slick. We do have a headphone jack at the bottom along with the charging port and speakers, and on the top we have just a microphone, SIM, and that's it. On one side we got absolutely nothing, and then on the other we have fingerprint sensor along with the power button as a combo and volume keys. So there we go, that's the build, I guess. Now the back here seems to be plastic, so yeah, plastic frame and plastic back, glass obviously front, and we do have IPX4, which is water resistant, though I'm not sure. 4 is probably just like splash, I think, and also some dust resistant. But yeah, honestly I would probably keep it away from both of those, considering it's made out of plastic and it doesn't look like it has any great seals around. So yeah, I think IPX4 is basically like a light splashing. So anyway, moving on to cameras, which we have at the back. We have a triple camera setup, I think. At least it looks like it. So main one is a 15 megapixel wide sensor with a PDAF focus. Then we get a 2 megapixel macro, which they could have just not include and everybody would be happy. And it looks like that's it. I am a little bit confused. So I'm basically reading the spec list here from GSM Arena. I'll just straight out say that out right now. And they do have a triple camera setup written here, but they're only showing 2. So I'm not exactly sure what the other one is, but assuming on the size it's probably going to be a 2 megapixel depth sensor. Which something tells me I am pretty correct here. Let's see, does it say here? Nope, it just tells me 1. So honestly, I just call it that we have one camera because that's realistically the only one that you'll be using, which is the 50 megapixel one, which, funny enough, they only said that they have 50 megapixel rear camera as a single one. Okay, fair enough, Vivo. You actually, I can't be mad at that one. You don't even say that you have a triple camera setup. Anyway, flipping over, we have a cutout right here, and that is a 8 megapixel wide sensor. Now, with all those cameras at the front and back, the highest you can shoot is 1080p 30 frames, so nothing really special. And lastly, in terms of just like different versions, here we have a 6GB RAM with 128 gigs of storage variant, so this is the one. But we also have a couple additional ones, one additional one, which is a lower version, right? Oh, no, my bad, higher version. So it would have 8 gigs of RAM and still 128 gigs of storage. So the only difference here is in terms of how much built-in RAM you have, either 6 or 8 gigs. So this one is the lower end, though for such a device I think 6 gigs is already pretty good. Now I want to see one more thing. Do we have an expandable storage? I surely hope we do. And yes, we do. So we can pop in a SD card in here and extend the storage past the 128 gigs of storage if you need to. Now, this entire device is powered by a Snapdragon 680. It's a 4G processor, which at the price range and I think it's okay. Honestly, 5G connectivity on a phone is just a little bit of a kind of gimmick at the moment, or at least it's been for a while, ever since it's been released. And you don't need to take my word for it. I highly recommend checking out Mr. Who's the Boss. He did an excellent video about it, talking about the 5G connectivity and its infrastructure right now, or in like 2022, which is that's been like half a year ago, but still it shows you pretty well how undeveloped this is, and also how pointless it is. So buying a phone with 5G, especially at the mid or budget range, is, I wouldn't say a good option, just because the phone isn't powerful enough and you can invest that money into something that you will actually get to use. Here they completely ditched it, which is a good thing, and decided to, I guess, give you a better charger, although it's only 18 watts, so not exactly sure. We do have a pretty good battery at 5000 milliamps, so this should last you pretty long. And also with the not so powerful processor in here, and also not as good of a display at 720p, this battery should last a pretty decent time. So I believe this device, though I'm completely guessing, should be something like a 2-day device, easily, I would expect. And in terms of the charging, if you plug it in with that 18-watt charger, you can get to 70% in 70 minutes, which is advertised. Haven't tested it out, so I have no idea how accurate this is, but give or take 5-10 minutes, and it should be pretty much there, I assume. So yeah, and that's about all I have to say about the device. So anyway, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.